For me, I think because I work in a hospital and I'm used to seeing, wounds and amputations and people being in severe pain. And my job is to help them out and to help them function through the pain eventually. Um, I didn't, I didn't think it was hard. I think physically it was exhausting. And you got to a point where it's like, okay, how long is this going to last? Is it going to get better? But I felt comfortable with it. I mean, it was basically wound care and patient care. So I think I looked at it more objectively and stepped outside. Yes, I was his mother and I loved him and everything, but he was my patient. So I treated him. I addressed his wounds. We checked for infection. We made sure, he had some type of nutrition, tried to get him some sleep. So you know, looking back now, I'm sure it was really tough back then, but looking back now, I didn't feel like it was traumatic for me. So, but again, that's coming from somebody who's used to seeing that kind of pain and suffering. So,
Hey guys, what's up? Bree here, creator of Preventable, the documentary, and you are watching Where Are They Now? And here with me is Rosemarie. Thank you for coming back. I
Oh,
mean,
thank you for, inviting me.
yes, I can't believe it's been so long since the
Yeah,
documentary has been shot. Um, and you weren't the one going through TSW. Your son Brian was going through TSW.
right, right.
So right now, how is the family? How's everybody doing?
Oh, everybody's doing great. Brian's, 17 going on 18 now, and he's doing well. He's grown a lot since you've seen him last, and
Oh my gosh, yeah.
everybody's, doing well. So,
So crazy. Yes. So you sent me a picture,
hmm
like shockingly, like I am Groot from the Avengers. Just he's humongous compared to you.
yes, yeah, he's grown. I think, it's probably part of puberty. Plus, also he got over that little growth. How sometimes the TSW will stunt the
Stunt your
growth or the
growth.
overuse. Exactly. And he just shot up in the past year or so, and physically, all of that's developed. So
That's just insane.
yeah, yeah.
Wow.
So
Is he taller than your husband now?
almost, yeah. I think he's got
Almost.
the short from me, so I'm pulling him down. So he's about 5'10" or so
Well,
now.
that's amazing. So he's gonna be graduating this year or next year?
Next year, yes. So he's playing ball, playing golf. He can outdrive Kevin now, so he's really
Oh my gosh.
he's doing
Yes.
really well in that area. Yeah.
And during the documentary, you guys even took me out. You guys played a little golf,
Oh yeah,
uh,
there you go.
and he does the baseball, so that's incredible.
Right, right, right.
So, so crazy to
Yeah,
see, especially with a as adults, we don't have, like, massive changes like that in, like, a span
right.
of 3, 4 years, but
Exactly.
his is huge.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
so how has his skin been
In
since
the summers, yeah, in the summers, it's great. I mean, it's almost normal in terms of like the texture and not as much flaking and things like that. But come around July, not July, December, January, the drier,
the
colder
colder
months, lower humidity, he starts to get, dry and itchy again. A lot more of the itching is obvious, and dry, flaky skin. I guess not to the extent where he's ripping his skin off, but because his skin is tougher. But with the prolonged scratching, you still have
Yeah.
the breaks in the skin. So he'll get in the like now he's still got a little bit of the redness in the the face and the body, but not the red sleeves. It's more like eczema redness and eczema dry skin. So as to whether or not it's residual TSW, I don't know, or
Yeah,
is it just hardcore TSW? I mean, is it
eczema.
just hardcore eczema right now? I don't know because
It's so
right
tough?
now, exactly. He's what, almost 7.25 months, 7.25 years TSW this month. So
Wow.
it's been 7 years. So functionally, he's doing better. He's growing. He's getting stronger. He's doing great in school. So functionally, he's doing well in that sense. And skin wise, we're still um, thankfully we got off the topical steroids, so that issue is not as pressing. But now we're into, okay, the underlying skin problem
Yeah,
that,
issues, I guess.
yeah, that brought us to using steroids. We have to figure that one out. So,
Got
and we're
you.
hopeful.
Have you guys tried anything? Like, I know there's so many people that go through every avenue of trying to figure out.
Right, right. I think with us, we used the naturopath, and she did the methylation studies, and we used some B vitamin, the B complex, based on what his needs were. And for a
Yeah.
while, that helped with calming this nervous system and the itch and all. But then, it's hard to when you start feeling better, as with everything, you tend to not use it as much.
Yes.
So, and it's hard to, you can bring a horse to water, but you can't force them to swallow. So we've had that. And then also we've tried acupuncture, which he broke his finger about last year in
Mm,
2019. And he ended up getting an infection. But the antibiotics, which we were hoping not to get, we ended up using it for his finger because he had undergone surgery.
yeah.
um, his skin reacted to the antibiotics. It almost looked like it was back to TSW, with the
Oh,
cracking,
wow.
weeping skin. He couldn't move. So we went to acupuncture, and it really helped in terms of, it was amazing. But
That's
that was,
awesome.
but that would included the needles as well as the herbal supplements that was to heal the body and help with the eczema and things like that. And once he started feeling better again, he was like,
You
you know what
go,
I mean?
yeah,
Yeah.
it's
So
when
so
you're
we never.
desperate, you stick to it, and
Yes,
then when you start
yes,
feeling better.
exactly. And I would like to have had him continue with it, but he wasn't using the T pills as well as, I mean, you can't do just the needles without the T pills.
Got
It's
you.
it's a whole package. And at that point, when they're 17, 16 or 17, you can't,
And if
and
he's
it's
if he's feeling good enough to be okay without it,
right. Right. But it would have been nice to have seen, the
yeah,
end road, finish it off to the end, because, she had said within, 6 to 8 weeks, we should have it kind of under control to where it's just, no, but we never got there. But he's functionally, he's doing great. He's getting back into
awesome.
stuff. So, and he's old enough to where it's like, okay, are you going to do it or not? No. So they, it's their choice also. He's got the information, and this is where, you've got the information as to what helps, what doesn't seem to help, what things you can do to decrease flares, what things flare it up, and it's up to them to, take it on and own it.
Gotcha.
So
Yeah,
we're working on that. Yeah. So
absolutely.
yes, yes,
And I mean, you provided such amazing research and insight on the documentary, especially when it came to children. Have you gotten to do any more of that in the past couple of years?
oh, I wish I could have, because there's so much out there. I know Kathy and all of the other folks have been, really doing some real good advocacy in that part. But after the documentary, when we got together,
Yeah.
um, a lot of things happened with my family, and I needed to focus on my dad and other family things. So thankfully, the TSW is kind of on the back burner now. We had gotten over the hump, and we could manage it, or just the dry spells in the
Yeah.
winter and the itchiness. But so I really haven't been able to, um, you know, do a whole
Dive
lot of research
in.
in that. Exactly. And I was hoping by the time I got back into it, everything would be gone, and, nobody's
Yeah.
getting TSW anymore.
That's the hope. That's the
I
wish that everyone
know.
has.
Yes, yes. So, but no, I hope to get back into it, but, God willing, I will be able to do that, but we'll see. But we're going
No.
to definitely kind of keep an eye on, what is causing that underlying itch, so that, and I had brought up things like, I asked Brian, would you like to try the Depixit? They don't have any studies yet on kids,
Yeah.
or it might be, I don't know. And he goes, nope, I'm going to manage it, and I don't want any of the try to manage it as naturally as
That's possible.
possible.
That's
Yes.
awesome.
So yeah, especially since he's functioning, he's got friends, he's doing great in school. He's gonna figure a way, and hopefully there'll be more stuff out there research wise in the future. So
Awesome.
yeah,
Yes. And I know that they're coming out with a lot of other different stuff, so
right.
we'll see how it goes.
Yes, yes.
Um,
Mhm.
as a parent, because it's very different than you going through it. You're having
Right.
to watch and support a child going through it. Um, what advice would you give to other parents who are dealing with a child with TSW at the moment?
Well, I guess, it also depends on the age. So, my son went through it when he was about 10 years old. So I can talk on that about that age range. The infants and all those, Stephanie and some other
Yeah,
folks can talk about that more. But I would say you need to definitely do your research prior to starting and get a good support team with respect to physicians who are on board with, even if you have to do a naturopath or a functional medicine doctor who are open, to
yeah,
doing treating the eczema and the symptoms and the topical steroid withdrawal with not pharmaceutical means, non-medication, if that's what you want. You have to really also understand why you're doing it. If the goal is to totally get off of topical steroids because they are not helping, um, then that would be a good reason to do it. But you have to be prepared for the highs and lows of, the TSW, because
yeah.
I don't think you really realize what you're getting into unless you're right in it. So it's important to just look on the blogs and see the timelines and follow the pictures and talk to people who've gone through it so that you'll have an idea what you might be getting into. Also, make sure before you go into it, have a good resource that you can contact. Like one person contacted one of the mothers, Emily, and she contacted me and connected us. And we were able to, this person was also in Virginia, Northern Virginia, and they
Okay.
were able to come down to Richmond, which is down the road from me. And we were able to meet up and we were able to talk. Their child was about 13 or 14 and scared to death because he was stuck, his skin was so tight and he couldn't move. They had to carry him and pick him up.
Oh my
But
gosh.
after we explained why, because he said it hurt to move, and after I explained why, and I assessed his arms, his legs, his movements and things, and I explained why it hurt to move and the importance of moving because the skin is healing. And if you keep everything tight and don't move it, it's going to heal like that. So when you go and
Uh,
try to move, it's going to hurt even worse because you're ripping those tissue bonds. So after we worked with him a while and I talked to the family and we were able to get his arms and legs straight and we were able to have him walk around. Whereas he came into the house in a wheelchair and he was
mm,
able to walk around with me. And mainly it's because he was scared to death to move.
oh
And
my
so
gosh.
his
Yeah.
muscles wouldn't move. So just kind of getting that movement in and explaining to him the importance of deep breathing, moving, even though it hurts. You have to move so that the skin can heal in those positions. Otherwise, it will heal like this, and
Constricted. Yeah.
exactly, and it will hurt to move. But it's a long process. You got a lot of ups and downs, but you got to really focus on the good times, the good stuff, and take pictures, and
Document.
document daily, weekly, so you can see the progress because the progress sometimes is just so slow, and especially with the function and the pictures, you can at least see what you looked like then, what you look like now, what things you were able to do then, what things you're able to do now, and really just focus on that. But yeah, so
No, and you had a really I I don't think it made it into the documentary, but I remember you talking about because it's gruesome in a way, and
yeah,
you have a great stomach for the sense of you went into it scientifically. Like I remember you
right,
would measure out stuff, you would
right,
try
right,
and see it in a scientific analytical point of view.
right,
Um because I think for parents, like, I couldn't imagine looking at my child and, like,
Right.
seeing their skin, like, weeping, falling off.
Yeah, yeah.
It takes a lot mentally.
Right, right. And I'm a physical therapist, so I one of my specialties was wound care. So I saw him as my son, but I also saw him as a patient, a wound care patient, because
Yeah.
basically that what came down to. He was going through topical steroid withdrawal, but part of that, the major thing that was affected was the skin. So for me, it was wound care. And you treat it as, okay, you have this wound. It's kind of like a burn patient. What do you do? What does the skin need? You provide it. You prevent infection. You provide what it needs, cover it. So I treated it like that. And with the blog that I wrote early on, I tried to make it so that everything was consistent. Okay, here were the symptoms. Okay, and what did we do for those symptoms? And then, each time I measured or reviewed those symptoms, I would try to reproduce, address those issues again to see the progress. And one of the things I did find was it seems with Brian, the elephant skin, the plasticky elephant skin,
Yeah.
it goes away in the summer, but in the winter, when it
Okay.
gets dry, it comes back, which is strange. I don't know if you have it or anybody else has it.
I mean,
The elephant skin,
I find that the colder months, I mean, I even live in Florida, so I feel
right,
I'm even overly blessed with humidity, but
uh-huh,
when comes to a temperature drop,
right,
um, there's a difference.
yeah,
There
yeah,
is a difference. It,
right,
like,
right,
dries out more, if that's what causes it.
yeah,
Um, but anything to do with temperature change, definite.
right, right.
So,
Now, do you find the humidity in Florida has helped you a lot?
I think so.
Okay.
Um, I mean, even now, I mean, I'm 6 years in and I still have,
Hmm.
problem areas. I do think, which is another issue, I believe I do have an infection, and I'm actually seeing, my doctor soon about it.
Right.
Because 'cause I'm active, I sweat, I'm a
Hmm.
teacher, and then I go and
Hmm.
sit down. It's not like I go and get to shower after.
Right,
So
right.
I think I do have a small infection, but I will say whenever, temperatures change and stuff, I am affected.
Hmm.
But living in Florida is, I consider that a blessing. I know a lot of people
Yeah,
want to be in more humidity. It's very
right.
hot here.
Yes.
Let me
So you sweat
preface,
more.
it is very hot here. Literally, it wasn't until a couple weeks ago that we started really experiencing what I would consider winter weather for
Hmm.
here.
Right.
Even today, I believe the high is supposed to be 83.
Oh, wow.
Like, that's in
That's
February.
winter.
Yeah. Um, so I think the coldest we got was like 40 degrees
Okay.
this past week. So I can feel that.
Right.
My skin can feel that, especially when it fluctuates from 40 degrees to 71. Like, someone put out a
Yeah.
joke that Florida is kind of like the lotto numbers, where it'll be like 48, 71, 62, 83. Like,
Uh-huh.
it's everywhere.
Right.
But yeah, the humidity here helps. I really do believe that
Yeah.
it
Okay.
helps.
Okay.
So
And yeah, so but do you still get flaky? The
yeah,
flaking? Okay, yeah. Yeah, same
yeah,
here. I mean, it's not as measurable. I used to get out the teaspoons and you
yeah.
remember your
It's
jar.
I
Keep
still
those
have
jars.
it.
You need to keep those jars.
It's actually right. They're in a
Yeah,
drawer
yeah.
right beside me. I still have those
Yeah,
jars, and
keep
I
them.
know
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
like a memento kind of
Yeah.
thing.
But see, the thing about it is that the dermatologists never see that extent. So they don't believe that extent. That's one day,
Like,
or
I
a
just
couple of,
like, this is like a human that I just shed.
yes,
Like, I like
yes, yes. So save those because it's going to come in handy one day. I know it is.
so
For proof.
proof. It's
Yes, we need
proof.
proof. Yes, yes.
Um, I even use that in the documentary. I believe there was someone brought it to light that there were some YouTubers that did a whole
Yes.
video on me.
Uh-huh.
And at first I was like afraid to watch. I was like, oh, they're gonna make fun of me. And they actually did a pretty decent job
Pretty
of
good.
what I
Uh-huh.
watched. but they brought up the jars because they saw
Yes.
pictures of my jars.
Uh-huh.
And one girl's like, I think she was just curious to like see
Uh-huh.
how much. And I was like, yeah, kind of like, how much skin am I actually shedding?
Right. Right.
So it
Yeah.
definitely, like, again,
Yeah.
TSW is a crazy journey.
Yeah,
So
yeah. And that's an objective measure. And the scientists are always saying there's no objective measure. And when I actually put that, a picture of a tablespoon of skin
yeah,
in a case study that I sent off for publication, one of the reviewers says that shouldn't even be in a scientific journal. It's like it's an objective measure.
it's, yes, huge. See,
Needless to say, I
uphill
didn't make it.
battle, uphill battle.
Right, right.
But thank
So,
you
oh,
so,
you're
so
welcome.
much. I send so much love to your family. I
Oh,
staying with you guys, especially near the end, like it, you took care of me so well, and I appreciate that so much.
oh, you're so welcome. And thank you for doing all of this. I just thought back about actually you traveling the world in different countries, places you didn't even speak the language in the midst of TSW. And I
Yeah.
was like, oh my gosh.
I still think back and go, I don't know what I was thinking. Not a clue. I'm like, what were
Yeah,
you
yeah.
doing?
It was meant to be, you know. You had a
But
lot of prayers getting you through.
I wouldn't have been able to do it without like people like you wanting to share their story, opening up their home to me. So
Yeah.
that was huge,
It
huge.
takes a whole community, right?
It does. It takes the
So,
village. It
yes.
takes the village.
Okay. Well,
So
thank you so
thank
much.
you.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so, so much. All right. Say hello to everybody for
I
me.
will. And you take care. And let me know about the video because it's
I
it's
will.
wicked. It's
I
wicked.
will. I will.
All right, you take care.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Brianna. Is it
Bye.
Brianna or Brianna?
Brianna.
Brianna. Okay, got it. All right, take care.
See you.
Bye-bye.